我不就一直找嘛。
从95年开始找起。
96年
啊
，96年初已经在开始找起，一直94年、95年，心里面就这颗心就一直在想念着这个姐姐这么好的一个人。96年是写的第一封信，偶尔就写写日记。
找了多久啊？
找了将近20年嘛。
找了20年。
跟姐姐说，我今天给你的一切的一切，你都是受之无愧，都是你的善良和你的胸怀一点一点的换来的。但我姐给我说什么话呢？她说，有你这份心情，20多年来有你记得我，我已经很知足了。我帮过很多人，但是他们可能都记不得我了，甚至还有人恩将仇报也有，但是我从来都没想过得到别人的回报啊！有了你这件事儿影响了我，我会把我的本性持续下去。这是姐姐给我发的信息。
会把我的本性持续下去。
In Zhejiang, a female accountant gave 30 yuan to a beggar for travel fare. Unexpectedly, 20 years later, the beggar returned the favor with a 1 million yuan check. In 2013, in Xianzhou, Zhejiang, Dai Xingfen from Yangfu village received a phone call that left her baffled. The caller claimed to be an assistant to a boss who wanted to come personally to repay a kindness. Dai Xingfen was very confused. Because she was just an ordinary person, how could she be connected to some big boss? And where did this repayment come from? She immediately suspected a scam, so she cautiously asked for the person's name. The other side then gave the boss's name, He Rongfeng. So, what exactly was the story behind this? The story began 20 years earlier. 20 years ago, Dai Xingfen was a village accountant living an ordinary work life. But one day, a special encounter unfolded unexpectedly. At that time, Zhejiang was experiencing a spring cold snap. Although it was spring, the temperature was even lower than in winter. Yangfu village was no exception. One day, Dai Xingfen was taking the bus from the county to her village. She was walking quickly in the cold wind, eager to escape the chill and get home sooner. Pedestrians were all the same. No one wanted to stop in the biting wind. But very soon, Dai Xingfen became alert. Because it seemed like 3 young boys were following her. For a moment, she didn't know how to react. Perhaps noticing her fear, one of the boys quickly reassured her, telling her not to be afraid and explained their situation. It turned out they had come to Zhejiang to work, but when they arrived at Jinhua railway station, their wallets were stolen. Starving and desperate, the 3 boys had no choice but to follow her, hoping to beg for some food. With a kind heart, Dai Xingfen didn't think much. Seeing that the 3 boys truly had blisters on their feet and looked pitiful, she let them into her home. Once home, she got busy right away. Dai Xingfen said, "Let me cook for you." She turned to the kitchen and stir-fried several dishes. This gesture deeply moved the 3 boys. After the meal, Dai Xingfen was troubled again. These boys had no money at all. If she let them go, where could they even stay? And with the spring cold snap in Zhejiang, nighttime temperatures could drop below 0. How could the kids possibly survive the cold? After much thought, Dai Xingfen decided to arrange a place for them to stay in her home. Warm-heartedly, she treated their wounds and set up beds so they could rest. As the saying goes, give a man a fish, and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, and you feed him for a lifetime. Dai Xingfen knew that wandering around with no money wasn't sustainable. So, she started helping them look for jobs nearby. Unfortunately, most of the jobs she found only hired 1 or 2 people. But the 3 boys, far from home, insisted on staying together for some comfort. Left with no choice, the 3 boys told her they planned to go to Huangyan in Zhejiang to seek their fortune. Perhaps they could find an opportunity there. At the time, a ticket to Huangyan cost 7 yuan, but of course, they didn't have a cent. Upon hearing their plan, Dai Xingfen agreed without hesitation. She gave each of them 30 yuan and sent them off. None of them could have imagined that this story would have a sequel so many years later. You have to know, 30 yuan back then was nearly half a month of Dai Xingfen's living expenses. But she didn't hesitate or fuss. She just thought, as long as she could offer some help to the three boys, it was worth it. Perhaps to her, it was just a small act. But her kindness planted a deep seed of gratitude in the heart of one boy. That boy was He Rongfeng. 20 years later, after he became successful, he still hadn't forgotten this kindness. So what exactly happened after he left that year that turned his life around? A female accountant in Zhejiang gave a beggar 30 yuan for travel expenses, not expecting the beggar to return 20 years later with a 1 million yuan check. He Rongfeng was born into a poor family in Sichuan. At 17, his father lost over 8,000 yuan, money the villagers entrusted to him from selling pigs. That was a huge sum at the time. Afraid of being held responsible, his father ran away, abandoning his wife and children. The burden of debt naturally fell onto the remaining family. The sudden upheaval made life even harder for them. Seeing his mother and younger sister constantly harassed by debt collectors, He Rongfeng decided to shoulder the burden. At just 17, he dropped out of school to work. At that time, China's southeast coast was the most prosperous region. He decided to go there and try his luck. He set out with 2 companions to Zhejiang, hoping that their youthful determination could carry their families forward. But as young, inexperienced teens, it was their first time working away from home. At Jinhua railway station, they let their guard down and got their wallet stolen. The 3 of them, strangers in a strange land, had no choice but to rely on begging and scavenging to stay alive. They traveled in the winter chill until their feet were blistered. 10 days later, they wandered into Yangfu village in Xianju County. Exhausted, they saw a kind-looking woman passing by and decided to try their luck begging. But to their surprise, this woman, Dai Xingfen, not only gave them food, she welcomed them into her home. After eating, they were still worried about where to sleep that night. If not for Dai Xingfen's kindness, they would have had to find shelter under a bridge. But she gave them beds and even cleaned and bandaged their feet. They were deeply moved. Thinking about their future, Dai Xingfen began helping them find work. She was only 24 at the time, yet everything she did warmed their hearts like a true big sister. Although job opportunities appeared, they were unwilling to separate as outsiders in a foreign place. They wanted to stick together for support. So they decided to leave and find work on their own. Just as they were worried about not having the 7 yuan for the bus fare, Dai Xingfen again stepped in, giving each of them 30 yuan so they could reach their destination. As they left and her figure became more distant and blurred, tears filled He Rongfeng's eyes. At that moment, he vowed that one day he would return the favor. Their early days were very hard. They had no money or education, so they could only do exhausting manual labor. Later, they ended up in Shenyang, doing odd jobs. Despite working hard, they earned just 5 yuan a day. Worse still, due to their inexperience, they were scammed, working 2 weeks without pay. Even after being tricked, they didn't give up. They later found jobs at a furniture market. He Rongfeng was hardworking and reliable, and with a quick mind, he quickly stood out. He steadily built his foundation, and eventually rose from a small worker to the head of a furniture factory. Along the way, he also gained lots of business experience. Notably, while working at the furniture market, he helped his boss catch a con artist. As a result, he was beaten up by the criminal's accomplices. This incident not only changed his boss's stereotype about Sichuan workers, but also showcased He Rongfeng's honesty and integrity. These qualities would prove vital for his future. With both courage and wisdom, He Rongfeng, after accumulating a certain amount of experience and capital, decided to start his own business. The hardships he faced during this process are unknown to us, but in the end, he still achieved success. In 1994, through his own diligence and hard work, he repaid all of his family's debts. 2 years later, he successfully started his own business, founded his own factory, and earned his first bucket of gold in life. From then on, he established deep roots in Shenyang, becoming a well-known owner of a furniture paint factory in the area, and for a time, his net worth reached over 100 million yuan. At the end of 1995, He Rongfeng returned to his hometown and went door to door repaying the debts left by his father back in the day. At that time, he felt both relaxed and full of pride. He had truly fulfilled his promise. After his irresponsible father had left, it was by relying on his own drive and intellect that he helped his family escape hardship. He was indeed a man worthy of the name. When poor, cultivate one's own virtue. When prosperous, help the world. After becoming successful, He Rongfeng did not forget the promise he made to Dai Xingfen many years ago. He was determined to find his benefactor. But fate played a trick. While trying to get in touch with Dai Xingfen, he misremembered one character in her name. A tiny mistake as narrow as a hair, but 1,000 miles off the mark. That one character error caused him to search in vain. Ultimately, however, persistence paid off, and in 2013, He Rongfeng finally found the sister who had once helped him. After receiving the news, he arranged for his assistant to contact Dai Xingfen to request a visit. Fortunately, Dai Xingfen still remembered him, and so agreed to meet. On the day they met, he brought many valuable gifts. The villagers, having never seen such a grand occasion, all came out to watch. Nowadays, Dai Xingfen and her husband co-run a noodle shop, and just like before, live an ordinary and simple life. She had never imagined that the down-and-out boy she had helped 20 years ago would cross paths with her again. What surprised her even more was that the repayment He Rongfeng promised wasn't just those valuable gifts. He also brought a 1 million yuan check. 1 million yuan, that is no small sum. From an outsider's perspective, it would be enough for Dai Xingfen and her husband to stop waking early and working late just to keep their business going. But after several refusals, Dai Xingfen ultimately made it clear that she would not accept the 1 million yuan. For a time, this caused an uproar. Reporters who heard about the matter rushed in with questions. While some outsiders said it was foolish of Dai Xingfen not to accept it, in her view, when she helped others, she never expected anything in return. What's more, though her life now was plain, it was built through the hard work of her and her husband. Her innate diligence wouldn't allow her to accept this unexpected wealth. Although she did not accept He Rongfeng's money, she expressed that she had not forgotten that destitute boy from back then. She didn't want the money, but the two of them still shared the bond of brother and sister. This story was reported by local journalists and soon sparked nationwide discussion. Both of them were invited by television stations to tell their story in front of the camera. Their deep bond and relationship moved many people. Not long after, a public interest film based on their true story, A Lifetime of Siblings, was released. It was also because of this that, in 2015, Dai Xingfen was shortlisted for the China Good People list and the Good Samaritan for Helping Others list, the best recognition of her helpfulness and selfless spirit. As for He Rongfeng, his story of gratitude and repayment also drew widespread attention. The company founded by such an honest, sincere, and responsible person gained the support of many. Perhaps in today's materialistic age, qualities like helping without seeking return, being willing to give, and keeping one's promises are incredibly rare. But there are always those who stay true to their hearts, and these are exactly the qualities our society needs today.
姐说，我今天给你的一切，你都是受之无愧，都是你的善良和你的胸怀一点一点的换来的。但我姐给我说什么话呢？她说，有你这份心情，20多年来有你记得我，我已经很知足了。我帮过很多人，但是他们可能都记不得我了，甚至还有人恩将仇报也有。但是我从来都没想过得到别人的回报啊！有了你这件事儿，影响了我，我会把我的本性持续下去。这是姐姐给我发的信息。
会把我的本性持续下去。
In this world, some people do good simply for inner peace. Others repay kindness to remember the warmth they once received. Dai Xingfen, an ordinary rural female accountant, possessed neither astounding wealth nor a dazzling identity. Yet in the biting cold, she silently extended a helping hand, warming the fate of 3 unfamiliar young boys. And he Rongfeng, once a penniless, blister-footed, wandering teenager, relied on his unyielding will and conscience to climb out of life's mire, and ultimately fulfilled the promise he once made. I will come back one day to repay your kindness. This is a promise kept for 20 years, and also 20 years of longing. Some say it's a miracle of fate. Others say it's merely a case of repayment by chance. But what truly touches the heart in this story has never been the money. It is the kindness that was remembered, the integrity that was passed down, and the promise that was upheld. In today's world, where everything is measured by benefit and efficiency, people like Dai Xingfen, who do good without leaving a name, are far too rare. And people like He Rongfeng, who become rich yet never forget their roots, are even harder to find. This world is not perfect, but it is precisely because there are still people like them that we are willing to continue believing. Kindness will be remembered, and true feelings will not be let down. And what about you? In your life, has there ever been someone who once lent you a hand? Do you still remember them? Are you also silently waiting for a chance to return that favor? Feel free to share your story in the comments. Maybe the next miracle that moves the entire internet will be your story. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. See you in the next video.